Hi, Miss Lewis. Where were you born and where did you grow up at?
I was born in the hospital, but we lived in the upper part of States County, a place called Vague Mickham. It is now it was then the Episcopal camp. And my daddy was the caretaker of it, and my mother was the postmistress. But we lived there until I was 5 years old in a great big cold white house. And we moved then, when I was 5, we moved to Germantown on Carroll Road, where I lived until I got married and moved away, in a rock house on Carroll Road.
So what was it like growing up with your dad being the caretaker of?
I really didn't know anything about that. He was just there and looked to make sure everything was done and that kind of thing. But I do know there's a rock church on the campground.
Mm-hmm.
And the same man that laid those rock on the church is the same person that laid the rock on my mom and daddy's house. And he was from High Point.
What was your favorite memory as a kid growing up?
Well, we used to play around on the farm, and we didn't have all this electronic stuff, and we just played ball and rode the tobacco sticks for horses, and rode these things that my brother and them made called chucker wheels, and we just played in the playhouse and pretended we were canning, and the next day it'd be stinking. And we just always had a good time.
So what was it like growing up on a farm?
Wonderful. I really enjoyed it. And I worked in tobacco, and I kind of followed Daddy around a lot. And he used to have baby pigs, but we could not go around the baby pigs while they were real little because the mother would try to hide them from us, and she would smother them. We had baby calves, we had sheep, and we had little lambs. And I worked in tobacco a lot. That was how we made our living.
So where did you go to school?
Well, I went to King until I was finished the 11th grade, and then they consolidated, and I was in the first graduating class of South Stokes in 1965. And when I finished my years in school, I went to work. First, I worked at Western Electric. I went for 3 weeks, and they had a big layoff, and I lost my job. And then I went to work at R.J. Reynolds, and I continued to work there for 38.8 years.
What was it like working at Reynolds? Was that a big thing in States County then?
Oh, yes. If you worked at Reynolds, everybody thought you was rich, but I'm here to tell you we're not. But it was a good place, probably the best place around here to work at that time.
What did you like to do during your spare time?
I did some cross-stitching and some reading and a little bit of painting, but I couldn't do that very good.
What else about the county can you tell us? Just stuff.
I don't know too much about the northern part of the county because I never went around in there very much. I was in 4-H for the county, and I won a dress review, and I got to go to Raleigh and stay a whole week. And my sister and my brother know more about it than I do, but I don't really know that much about the northern part. The southern part, it was just, we were just kind of easygoing. You didn't have to lock your doors when you left because nobody was breaking in when I was that age. It's just a lot different living then than now.
What was your favorite part about living back then than it is now?
The people were more trustworthy, and you weren't afraid of everything that happened, and you never thought anything like that was going to happen back then.
Mm-hmm. So what do you think has made people change over the years?
A lot of it right now is the economy, and some of it is that just people don't work a lot, and they don't have money, so they're out here stealing to get what they can, to get what they want. And when we were younger, first grade on up, we had to work in the summer, especially if you worked on the farm, and you had to work and you were responsible for working. Where the kids today, not many of them work. They have too much idle time.
So do you think kids nowadays are spoiled?
Yes, I think they're lazy too.
What do you think spoils them?
Mamas, daddies, grandparents, just that they never had any responsibility.
Did you grow up poor or rich?
I was not rich, I can tell you that.
So getting around Christmas, what do you remember about Christmas time?
I usually got a doll and some fruit and nuts and candy from Santa. But the most memorable thing of Christmas was going to my grandma and grandpa. And we always went the night after the program at the church. And we probably wouldn't get to grandma's till 10 or 11 o'clock. And we'd stay till 3 and 4 o'clock in the morning. And we all just had the best time at grandma and grandpa.
Where's your grandma and grandpa live?
Off of Friendship Road coming from Germantown.
Were there ever any big changes in the county that you remember? Or big events that happened?
Well, a lot of people got to go to work at Brook Cove when Reynolds built that plant down there, and then a lot of them went downtown to work from there. And then they shut it down. I guess the consolidation of the high schools was a big change.
Where did you work at Reynolds? What did you do?
When I first went to work, I worked on the cigarette floor, and I inspected cigarettes as they came out of the machine. And then I went to working in the office, and I worked the rest of the time in the office. I did go to work at Tobacco cigarette plant before they actually started making cigarettes.
So from your childhood to now, what's the biggest change in the county that you've seen?
I guess just like I live in a townhouse now, it was never anything like townhouses when I was growing up. And it's not that much of a rural life anymore in States County. It's mostly everybody works at public work.
Sort of the big stories, we all grew up hearing from our parents and everything was the Lawson family murders. Did your parents ever tell you anything about that?
Yes, they told us a lot about it. My daddy did not go to the funeral. My grandpa did, but my daddy couldn't go because he was home sick in the bed with flu or something. But one of my uncles was there also, and until they found out who it was, or where he was, or what happened, till they found he was dead, everybody was scared to death because they had no idea where he was or really who had done it until they found him dead. And it's just, they're all buried over here on the, right at the intersection of number 8 and Brook Cove Road. And the Browder Cemetery. And the graves are all in a line, and it was just, I guess, a big thing then. And it still is a big thing, because a lot of people are asking questions about it and visiting, and they wrote books, and it was a terrible thing to happen.
Tell us about your church experience. Did you grow up in church, and where did you go?
Yes, I grew up in church. My mom and daddy always carried me to church, and at Friendship Baptist, close to Germantown, and I was saved there. I've been going there ever since. I still go there, and I really respect it. And it's like I guess it just feels like a family church, because a lot of my family does go to church there.